the case across portions of the country.
Depending on where you are, maybe a little bit too cold or a little bit too warm, or so a little bit too wet out there. Snow and rain set to clip the northern tier along with a cold blast of air right now. In fact, check out some of the early November flakes that were flying in the upper Midwest and dusting the town of Plymouth, Wisconsin. This is
about it. It's almost worse to have that cold rain. You're like, well, if it's going to be cold and it's going to rain, it might as well snow. But we're certainly seeing rain across portions of the Great Lakes region, especially across northern portions of the LP of Michigan. You can see there along that 75 corridor. Detroit, you've had a little bit of a cold morning, a cold rain starting off your morning. Did have some wintry weather there, kind of skirting the Pennsylvania, New York state line. That has kind of set itself up around Elmira now. Going to be a little bit slick possibly there just south of Syracuse along the I-81 corridor. So while most of this is liquid precip, most of this is rain, we are seeing some wintry precip mixing in there. Also across northeastern portions of Minnesota, moving into Wisconsin, now northern Wisconsin. So we do have some snow out there. Two different systems going to be moving through. First system bringing some rain to portions of the northeast as we head through Tuesday, and then ushering in that much colder air as we head into really tonight and into Tuesday across portions of the Great Lakes region. So let's talk about it. The I-75 corridor, Detroit up into Saginaw, up into Mackinac as well. Scattered showers, pockets of wintry mix certainly possible. I've seen a little bit of wintry mix thus far this morning across northern Michigan, so keep that in mind. Here's your forecast in Marquette. Possibility for some snow showers today and into tonight, but look at these temperatures. Your high on Tuesday, only 27 degrees. That mix of sun and clouds not going to help you out at all. Down in the teens Tuesday night, and the wind chills, those are going to be what you have to contend with, especially tonight into Tuesday morning. So it is cold, Tevin, and snowy for some places.
Cold, and it will be cold.
Oh, definitely. Well, at least for some places.
For some.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in New Jersey and in New York State, at least this week it will be cold here. The jet stream energy dipping down towards the south. I don't want to get into the dynamics of it, but there's also a retreat of this jet just a little bit to the north.
Yeah, and so you're going to have that cold air really sticking around, though, across the northern tier of the country.
Splitting the country right in half.
Certainly, you can see the reds and the oranges south of this, and the colder air to the north of the jet stream. Places like the northern plains up into portions of Montana as well. We're talking 15 to 30 degrees below average, when the average highs are already starting to cool off this time of year. So that's when you're talking about a lot of cold.
When the cold are getting colder, that becomes a problem here.
Exactly.
But here's the thing, that cold air just slides all the way down towards the south. For example, Waxhaw, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Tuscaloosa, Alabama by later on this week.
Wait, us? No, sorry, guys.
Tallahassee might be by Friday.
Maybe some drier air. I think drier air will finally build into portions of South Florida late week.
So highs some 10 to 30 degrees cooler, that by Friday. Wednesday here, 20 million people with highs below average. What about Thursday? Let's see what Thursday holds. There you
go.
Bam! 95 million people with highs below Thursday, from Texas to Oklahoma, all the way into the northern tier.
And that's continuing into Friday as well. It's not stopping there. Cold days combined with an occasional snow can make it hard to figure out what to wear.
What do you wear? Well, the Brainstorm team tests which single layer of clothing will keep you from getting frostbite. All right, so some technical difficulties there, but we can continue talking about this forecast. So Wednesday, 20 million people here, Minot, Billings, Montana, and all through Big Sky Country with highs below average. Watch what happens on Thursday here. That 20 million easily becomes 95 million now.
And you're getting more into more of the population centers. So now you've got, Chicago down through Kansas City, and the Panhandle of Texas included in that, Oklahoma City. So you're really seeing those below average temperatures become more widespread on Thursday.
And that colder air sort of reinforces itself on Friday and spreads out in a big way. 212 million people from Minneapolis down to Dallas, Texas, Houston, all the way down to Brownsville and eastbound as well, Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, and Buffalo. Highs below average. So where did fall go?
Yeah, this is going to be like deja vu for places like Kansas City, Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, where the end of last week as well, you had that colder air filtering in to round out the week. The temperatures dropped on Halloween for a lot of people last week. So it's going to kind of be a little bit like...
Kids had to wear a couple of layers over on top of those fairy costumes or the construction costumes as well. Look at I-10 here. Very important, because if that front makes it through Tallahassee, you will certainly start to cool down for any students at Florida State. Look at what happens on the west side of the country, though. Denver all the way to California and northbound into Washington. Unfortunately, this is not the setup that California wants to see in terms of cooling off and also bringing in some moisture.
Right. There's no rain in the forecast for the west coast there with that, and that's not what you like to see. So, fingers crossed that eventually some rain is going to move in and the winds will continue to die down there. Let's talk about the waves of cold for Friday, because we could really potentially see some record cold highs. New York, your forecast for 40 degrees, the old record 38 degrees set back in 1886. So that's a really old record that would possibly be in danger of getting broken on Friday.
Worcester, Massachusetts, on Friday, your forecast is 30. Go back to 1976. If you remember that year and that day, 34 degrees. That was the record, so you may be breaking that by about 4 degrees. Other places like Caribou, Maine and Portland, Maine, it's a bit more difficult to do that here because it is so cold in Caribou this time of year, but you are awfully close to breaking that record as well. Chicago, your forecast here, your average high 55. Enjoy today because you're nowhere near it by the end of the week.
And into next week as well.
That's true.
There's a late week storm cranking out snow in the north.
We will zero in on the areas that could get up to 5, yes, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow, and we'll time it out too.
Snow. So a happy November, Cleveland. Let's talk about it. So the average date of your first measurable snowfall, that's what we're looking here. You can see for places like Cleveland, it typically happens around November. Then as you look up to around the Rockies, more like October. And most of the Midwest, some of the Great Lakes region has already seen some snow anyways this year. So this is what we've seen so far. The snow cover covering the U.S., mostly covering those portions of the Rockies and the Front Range. A little bit there as you look into the northern tier of the Great Lakes region as well. However, we're going to get another shot at it. We've got two systems that kind of stay separate if you're looking at, one model, and then looking at the European model. I think this is, it kind of brings the two systems closer together. That means more rain and snow possible with a stronger system as we head into the later part of the week. So here's what the European model is thinking Wednesday morning through Saturday morning. Look at this here. We're talking about moderate snow for portions of New England down through the Northeast, and then across the Great Lakes region, the Ohio Valley, light snow possible. The GFS model spreading that snow a little bit farther back to the west. We're talking about portions of Iowa through the Great Lakes region. But as you can see, this is a big difference as you look toward New England. The American model having much less across the New England area with this potential snowstorm. So here's what we're looking at. We're starting you out Thursday afternoon. You can see the swath of wintry weather across the northern Ohio Valley. That's stretching back into the Missouri Valley as well, back into places like St. Louis, and then spreading Friday morning up into the Northeast. So Tevin, certainly looking more winter wondery like than say fallish across the Northeast.
That it is indeed. Well, we are in a race to save the planet.